Okay, so working with Thilony over the past year, I've gotten to know her really well, and I can say that she is definitely a very worthy candidate of this position. And I think what really could make her a better candidate than me is that she's a very sweet, very genuine, very loving person, but she has no nonsense and she works hard. For me, a lot of people say that, like, oh, sometimes you can be too nice, and to a certain extent I'm like, no, but I want to be nice and I want to be open to everybody, but at the same time I acknowledge that sometimes you have to be like, okay, listen, this is what I want. And Thilony definitely has those qualities. She's a very hardworking individual, and I think that the work she would put in is very valuable to Founders College. So.
I'm holding back tears. What makes Dalton a great candidate? This year he recently did leadership, and I'm not really sure what it entails, but from my understanding, it's basically what is in the word. Building leaders and how to put your life in a place where you can lead everyone else and kind of lead your own life in a very respective way. Dalton's all about making sure that you have the tools and the access to build your life the way you want to make it and make it successful. Sorry. And I think he really does have that. Working with him this past year, I have learned that he is an amazing person as well. He has taught me a lot about really being more open in terms of, like, I am an open person, but being more open in terms of leadership goals and just finding more about yourself. You really have to know yourself in order to lead a community, I think, because you have to be strong and you have to also know what you want and not back down from it. And I think he really taught me that. So I strongly suggest, I think he's a really good candidate as well, and I think he'd do amazing at the job if he's elected. Yeah? Okay, cool. I totally get where you're coming from, even though I did do Frosh Week with Founders, and I kind of started from the beginning. I totally understand. It's a scary thing coming to university or college or whatever and not knowing anyone and just being really scared and trying to get involved, but you don't know how to. And I think that's a big thing, and that's why I really wanted to stress in what I had said before in the beginning, to involve you and make sure that the decisions that I am making are not just what I am making, it's what you're making. And this year, I know we didn't have as many, not town hall meetings, but community outreach meetings to get to you all, not American, everyone in order to put their opinion in. I think that's something that I really want to strive for, and to build that from the beginning, even if you come in late, and really try to be there and try to promote that community outreach is not just something that you have to join from the beginning. You can come in, you could put your ideas down, and you could really make yourself known and more approachable. I don't bite, I swear. My past experience, I've been on this council for 2 years, first as my first year external rep, when it used to be called external, and this year as director of community outreach. In my first year, I did have a director, but she had to leave for various reasons, and I basically had to take external, a first year who had nothing, who had no idea what was going on, who didn't know anything, and build it and make sure that it stood strong. And I hope I did a pretty good job. I ran Volunteer for a Day, and I try to really keep that strong. My past experience, I have been on, I know this is high school, it's way back when, but I have been on student councils, I have been in clubs, and I do volunteer. I still volunteer to this day. I volunteer at the hospital, at my museum, at the local senior home. And I keep myself fresh in that sense because I want to know what everyone is striving for, because everything changes every time. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to start with some past experience. Back when I was in high school, I actually went to a leadership conference. It was called the York Region and President's Council Conference. And at that time, I was sort of dabbling in the area of like, I really want to take charge of my life, get more involved. And what this conference gave me was, I was put into a group of 10 other participants, and over 4 days we did these really intense sessions and discussions, like the sessions that I would like to do as Director of Community Outreach. And it really put us in a position where we had to be more vulnerable, be more open with the people around us, and accept them for who they are, and also be more accepting of who we are, and sort of like ripping ourselves out of our shell, getting out of our comfort zone, and really putting ourselves out there and creating those bonds with the people around them. I feel like that's such an important thing, to have that strong community bond. So one thing that I want to do from the very beginning is I would want to focus my events on getting more involvement from the first years, so that way they would get involvement from the very beginning. They could start to create those bonds that will hopefully last them all throughout university and beyond, and be able to get people like you who joined Founders a little bit late involved from the very beginning. So, and also during Frosh Week, being that guy. If you were at Frosh Week, you remember me being like, yeah, twerk, like being really high energy, being really awesome, and getting people involved and be like, yeah, like let's get excited, let's do this. But at the same time, being that person to be like, hey, let me talk to you, let me get to know you. I'll reach out my hand and get to know the other first years and let them feel as if like how I feel accepted in this community. Like feel that they are accepted within the community, and also talking to them about, hey, I'm doing this event for first years, and getting them to talk to each other and create bonds and have a good, stable community bond with each other through this event. Maybe you should come out. So that's definitely what I would do in order to get more involvement from the first years at the very beginning. So as I said before, Thelony did put in a lot of work, and I think she's a really great candidate for this position. What I would like to see different is, I would say, I don't know how to say this without being personal, but just sort of really making sure all the details are in order, not getting so. Thelony's a great person and she is very no nonsense, but at the same time I noticed that, like, how do I say this? I guess just like trying to, okay. I'm okay. Just sort of like try to keep everything together, to not get so caught up in the work that they do, so that they can get the involvement from everybody and get everybody excited about the event without getting too hyped up, like, okay, like we gotta get this done, we gotta hurry, let's go. So my feedback would be just not freak out, give it a minute, and try to think, okay, how can I do this? How can I get this done? How can I get everybody involved? And how can I make sure that everyone is having a positive experience with this, and this isn't a stressful situation, not just for myself, but for the people around me. So.
If Dalton wins, I would be very happy. If both, like, it's a fair game. What I would like to see in the future would be definitely, obviously, we always want more events, but I want more events how do I say this? More advertised. And I think that's something that this whole council has to work on. But in terms of getting posters out on time and just, how do I say this nicely? Time management in the sense. And that's not just like his life, and that's not what I was talking about. I meant like an event specifically. Like, okay, I want this event. How can I delegate this properly? Okay, I need to start organizing from today, and I need to put up posters on this date, and I need to do this on this date, and so when this date comes, I'm set and I'm ready to go, and I'm not freaking out about, oh my god, I have to do my assignment or something like that. Does that make sense? Yep.
So we have 3, 4, 5, and we have our 6th. Okay, then we're going to take an intermission. So
Okay, so I totally agree with what Briar you're saying. You need to you have to get your every community aspect. Does that make sense? You need to get everyone involved, and you need to be inclusive. The events that I wanted to do were like events such as volunteer in a senior home, or do food drive. This year was a great opportunity, and things like getting other committees and other major committees, like for example if you're in environmental studies, your committee or your little club involved. I think inclusivity is a really big thing, and that's something that we are inclusive as founders, but we need to work on. And I think something like that would be reaching out more. So having meetings with other clubs and other majors or whatever, like other councils, and saying, listen, we want to do this. How can we put this out with you? I know we all have friends outside of this major, outside of this college, whatever. So really trying to bring them out and making sure that you poster everywhere and you get your word out everywhere. And you're not just telling your friends to come out to your event, but telling everyone to come out to your event. And whether that be contacting, like, for example, sexuality studies in their club, or environmental studies, or history, or blah, 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 whatever it may be, you get them involved and you get their clubs. Because, like, sometimes I'm a founders constituent, but I don't come around founders. So I go to, like, this other club. Make sure that happens. Maybe we can table during, I think it's, like, the first week of school, like, not Frost Week, but there you go. I'm really old, I'm sorry. Welcome Week, or even Frost Week, or things like that. So I really think that's a good thing we need to work on, and it's definitely something that I can't go like this and try. So it's something that as council we can work on, and reaching out to other clubs such as Equity to really try to strive for that.
Okay, so sort of on the same theme that Thilany was just talking about, is my goal for next year would definitely be to branch out and make those connections with the other groups that are affiliated with Founders College. As mentioned before, I did go to Leadershape this year, and I made lots of great connections with people from various different colleges. And I actually met one of the first-year reps for the Environmental Students Association, Environmental Studies Student Association, and I could talk to. So, for example, I could talk to her and say, "Hey, I'm doing this event for community outreach. Would you mind during a meeting talking about it with the other members?" Or even I could say, "Hey, could I step into one of your meetings so I could talk about this and see what you guys think and see if you guys are interested in participating?" So definitely making those connections, reaching out to the other people in Founders who are not always the people that you would see in the lounge or the JCR Arthur Haberman room. And, you know, we'll always have posters, we'll always have Facebook events and Twitter feed, and that is definitely helpful. But I think the most important tool to use is word of mouth. So making those connections and advertising the events face to face. So I think, in a few words, the overall goal of community outreach is to strive to build community. It's taking the constituents that we have, bringing them together, fostering personal growth, leadership development, self-awareness, trust, risk, and empowerment within the college, so that way we're able to make a strong connection with each other, and that we are empowered to take action and help out the community outside of Founders College and York University.
So community outreach's name actually just started technically this year, let's say. It used to be external, and if I'm not correct, I think it was the first name, or maybe there's something else. My mistake if it's not. Yeah, it used to be something before external. And the reason why the name, I believe kept changing, or what I was told, was because the name was never very clear as to what it meant. And so we hoped that when we changed it to community outreach, the name was clear. We want you, Founders College, to get involved outside of Founders College or outside of York University. And that means with a building relationships outside of this college and making it so that it doesn't, like, it lasts forever, great, lasts for a day, great, but we want it to last for a long time. And we want to make sure that events continue to happen, getting involved, not just volunteering, giving your time for whatever the cause may be, just coming out to a Disney movie night and donating like your pennies or whatever. We want you to get involved, and we want you to be the one coming out, because I can come out, I will always be there, or Dalton, or whoever is the next person that gets this position will always be there. But it's about you. We do this for you. We don't do this for us only. We do this for you. So we want you to be there, and I think that's the main thing, putting you in the equation. So yeah, when people do come into the lounge or any other one of our spaces, they do see a specific culture. Like, we bring something to the table. We bring excitement, we bring enthusiasm, and we mostly bring the ability to open ourselves up to friendship. We're not closed off college, we're very open. So I believe that the steps you need to take are leadership building and things like making events more inclusive. Oh, yeah, inclusive. Inclusive and making them more involved with people, making them more about you. So events that you want, communities and charities that you want to donate to, things that you want to do, so that you know what, when you graduate 4 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever it may be, you're thinking, oh, I really liked that event and I really liked what I did then. Maybe how can I take that to the next level?
So from my own personal experience, when I first came to Founders College, what I immediately noticed was that the atmosphere was very positive. People were very open-minded. While I was nervous at first, like, am I going to make friends? Am I going to achieve everything that I want to? I quickly got rid of all those fears and those insecurities because the people around me were very accepting, very open-minded, very optimistic, and very enthusiastic about the college that they were in. So what I would want to do is really make that a part of our everyday lives through the activities, the sessions, the workshops, and the events that I want to hold. Because, you know, we're all students, we're very busy, we all have different lives, we're going through very different things, and sometimes it can be hard to balance that and be able to be like enthusiastic and open-minded all the time. Sometimes it's like, I hope you know what I'm saying. But to sort of have, I've lost my words, I'm so sorry. Just to create I just want to see what I saw from the moment I came in Founders College every day, because from my personal experience, sometimes it's not like that, and I want people to, you know, it can be very difficult when you become so familiar with each other and everyone gets so close, and there is conflicts, and there will always be that. We're very young, there will always be drama, and I'm totally aware of that. But if we build that strong community, if we become more aware of who we are as people, who we are as a community, and we're able to work through that and communicate with each other, we'll be able to strengthen those bonds and deal with those conflicts as they come in a peaceful manner, so that the environment doesn't become as toxic as it can be sometimes. So that in the future we can be like, you know what, this is our legacy. We are open-minded, accepting, wonderful, beautiful people, and I just want, in short, to spread love throughout the college. So.